and welcome to the show. I'm here on MXGP. It's a motocross racing game. It's made by the same people, Milestone, I believe, who made MotoGP games and the WRC4. So it's instantly familiar. If you've played either of them, and I've played both of them, it is instantly familiar. Very, very similar setup. That's not a bad thing, though. They've got a very good setup going on with them two games, and it works pretty well in here. There's two different categories of motocross, but I know absolutely nothing about motocross. I love watching it on TV. It's fantastic fun to watch. I don't know bugger all about it. There are two classes of bikes, MX2 and MX1, and I'm in the career mode at the moment. I think I'm halfway-ish or some way through on the MX2 bikes, the slightly slower bikes. And I'm going to jump in and carry on with that. Again, there's a whole... can I show you? I don't know if I can find it. Oh, that person's talking to me. Bugger it. There's the whole creator-ridery person, again, that you can do. Very similar to the MotoGP games. Yeah, it's kind of a similar thing, only it's put on some much more... Well, you're going off-roading on some really interesting tracks. I don't know where I am in the career. Oh, I'm at France. This is a tough track as well, actually. I have to say, I've been really, really enjoying playing this game because the tracks are very, very different. I have to say, we're in qualifying. We'll go for a few qualifying laps, see where I can end up. Yes, let's go to track. I don't know anything about the setup, so I just go with whatever we've got. Yeah, the tracks are fascinating because they've all got their own very, very distinct characteristics. For example, this French one here is actually quite narrow, quite twisty. One of the longer tracks I think I've driven on, but yes, this is a very nasty, narrow track, except for this bit, because the start line's back behind us. The German track was a lot wider, a lot more open, a lot faster. There's a Dutch one as well that's a very interesting one to try and drive around. Oh, I've overshot that one a little bit. Now, apparently, these are all the real... I think they're supposed to be all the real-world circuits. Again, I have no clue. I don't know if these are accurate. I presume they're fairly accurate, possibly. Whether they are or not, they are very good fun to drive around. The 7 or 8 I've driven so far have been incredibly good fun to drive around because they're all very different. They've all got their own characteristics. I'm actually doing quite well, having not played this game for a couple of days. Yeah, the tracks are all very, very, very good fun. They've all got their own challenges. And for me, who is very much used to circuit racing, I mean, even on MotoGP, some of the tracks in there I've driven before or seen before. It's an interesting change. It makes things exciting. I mean, you've got all of these hills and jumps to worry about that you don't normally have to worry about in racing unless you're playing sort of Colin McRae Dirt Series. I'm trying to think, is there any other racing series that has like the trophy truck style things? There probably is that I've just forgotten about. But yeah, having all of these jumps and stuff to worry about, it makes things interesting. It certainly does. And then the bike's handling, the bike's driving it's kind of... Oopsie, I've fallen off. Bugger it. It's kind of similar to MotoGP in some respects, but you have to worry about the sort of the leaning of the rider as well. So the bike steering is done on the left stick, and then the right stick controls the person, the rider's leaning, if you like. So you're kind of using both sticks to control. I don't know how I can show you. Like, there's not an easy way to show this, but that's essentially what you're doing. So through the tight corners, you can sort of chuck your rider around to try and make the bike change direction. You can use it to try and change direction slightly in the air if things have gone a little bit wrong, like there. I'm trying to get the bike more to the left. It's a confusing system to someone who hasn't played it before. It took me quite a while to get used to it because there is so much to think about. Now, I'm currently driving with automatic gears, which is very rare for me. It's incredibly rare. I hate automatic gearboxes normally in racing games. It's very rare that I run with an auto box. But at the moment, I am finding I kind of have to do that while I get used to this game because I'm so busy worrying. There's just not enough. I haven't got enough fingers to do all this. I'm so busy worrying about trying to keep the person on the bike and get around the corners quickly that I can't do all the leaning and then press A and B and stuff for the gears, and I nearly went over the fence there. Just save that one. Yeah, I just can't react quick enough. I mean, you don't have to be constantly on the stick for moving the rider's weight around. That's something I learnt fairly quickly. It's more of a... Oh dear, that's all gone very wrong up there. It's more of an emergency sort of try to sort something out if you've taken the corner a little bit too fast and you need just a little bit more turning or to get around a really tight hairpin. No, let's not fall over on that one there. That's much better. Not very good line through there, but bugger it. Yeah, the leaning is sort of more of a, maybe not quite an emergency sort of thing. It's a funny one. I've bumped the stupid thing. God damn it. No, we're losing it. That's not gone well for the end of that lap there. That's really not gone particularly well. It is an odd control system to get used to, but it does work very, very well. After a little while, it will take a few races and you will be falling over constantly for a while. I've taken a very strange line through there, never mind. Bugger it, it works. Yeah, it will take a few races. There will be much falling off. If you've not played a game like this before, there will be much falling off in the opening few. But you will get the hang of it in the end. It's a fairly intuitive system. Once you've done a couple of races, you'll pick it up fairly quickly. And then it's very, very good fun. It's very rewarding when you get them corners right, and I'm not getting it right at all. I did a much better first lap, I think. Come on now, we can do better than this. Yeah, once you are stringing together the corners and you're taking these tight turns and stuff, it's a very rewarding system. It makes it fun. It makes it fun to drive. It makes it an interesting challenge. Just try and get the bikes around the course quickly, which is something different. It's something new that I haven't really had in a video game for a while. I think is it the MX versus ATV? I think that's the name of the series. They had a similar control system. Possibly, I never really played them, but this works. It works really, really quite well. I'm trying to remember this track. This is one of the harder tracks I've had to learn. It's a very technical one. This is. I'm assuming this is a real motocross track. It looks like a very interesting one to drive around in real life. It looks incredibly nasty. Right, so we check into this corner down here, and then we go back up this way again, and then there's a shorter run down to the next one, so we won't go around here. Got to be careful not to get carried away, or we just fall off there and instantly get reset. Sometimes it is a little bit funny with the resetting if it thinks you've taken a shortcut. Sometimes you can get away with it. Sometimes you can run quite a long way off the track and it'll be fine and it won't care. Then other times you run a tiny fraction off the track and it gets very, like with that one. In some places you won't be able to cut the track, of course. It will always reset you, but sometimes if you run wide through a corner it'll be fine with it and let you sort yourself out. Other times it will just reset you quickly. No, I don't like that corner. Keep going too fast into that corner. One thing you will be noticing as I continue through this sort of qualifying session, you will notice that the ground is actually becoming more and more sort of cut up. There are grooves around the track. Now these do not affect the bike's handling, unfortunately. They're a purely visual thing as far as I can tell. And yes, if you mess around, these are the trails left by the other bikes. So if I go off and find my own route through a corner, I will gradually make it work. So if I take a wide line through one particular corner and all the AIs are taking a different line, yes, I will be leaving a groove, if you like, behind me. Unfortunately, as I said, it doesn't actually affect the bikes. It's just a visual thing. It's not quite like Sega Rally. Sega Rally had a really good sort of terrain deformation system, which is surprising considering how old that bloody game is, and that would affect the way the cars drove and so on, whereas this, it doesn't actually affect the bikes. It looks very cool. I'll give them credit, it does look very good. I was surprised as well to see it in this, but it's a purely visual thing. Right, we're on a much better lap this time. Qualifying isn't so important. You'll see in a minute why qualifying isn't quite as important in this game in particular. Right, we'll chuck it around here, and then we've got this run. There's a couple of places where I just get a little bit a couple of places where I haven't quite got the hang of getting over the jumps, and then we'll come down here. We're going on. We've buggered that one up on that corner again. 10th place, it'll do. You'll see why qualifying is almost irrelevant. As long as I can drive around the track, okay, then it doesn't really matter. We'll return to the pit and we will go to the next session. Skip to race 1. There are 2 races per race weekend. Where did we actually end up? Oh, we ended up down in 12th. Again, as it qualifying pretty much irrelevant in this game. Not irrelevant completely, but you will see in a second when we get through some loading screens. There we go. Are we going to have the? Oh, we're not having the. There is an amusing bug with this game where you see the bike I've got here on the stand or whatever, and that sometimes vanishes for no apparent reason, and the guy's just there working on an invisible bike, which I giggle at slightly. It's the only real bug I've found on this, to be honest. Right, we will go to track, and this is because the first corner's over the other way. this is where you select what gate you stand in. I love how it looks like all the riders are about to go for a running race. Yes, we will go. We will run. Depending on where you qualify, depends on. Yeah, hello there. Are you just making sure the ground is solid? I'm hoping the ground is kind of solid. It's sort of useful. Yeah, depending on where you qualify, depends on what order you pick the gate you start in. So the first guy has all of the gates to pick from, and second, and so on and so forth. And apparently, you want to be on this side because the first corner goes to the right. I don't know why you would qualify higher up than, was I 12th, and then start over here. Although to be fair, it doesn't really matter because it's all about. I'm going to start next to my teammate. I think it's all about that initial getaway from the gates. I mean, I will probably come out the first corner, provided I don't fall over in sort of third or fourth maybe. If I get a decent start, which I do, can we get to first by the first corner? Ooh, we can run a little bit wide. Aha, there we go. See, qualified 12th, and I'm already in the lead. Yeah, yeah. It's not massively important. It does make things interesting in some respects, but there's no real fighting through the field. Right, woo, I've overdone that one a little bit. There are times I haven't quite figured out. I'm pretty sure it's more my fault than the game's fault. I've actually got a really good start on this one. There are a few times where you will come off a jump and you'll be at a really silly angle. I keep finding myself doing that. I'll come over a bump somewhere at a really stupid angle, and yeah, get yourself into trouble that way. That seems to be my most common. Woo! I thought that was full. I've completely misjudged where that corner was, and I've really smacked that one into the wall. When you fall off, especially during the race, it is very lenient. I have to say, I'm driving this on the hardest difficulty of AI, and as you can see, despite qualifying 2 or 3 seconds a lap slower than the pulses, I'm still a second up, and I fell off. It is pretty damn lenient on the recovering you when you fall over. You only ever really lose maybe a second, sometimes a couple of seconds at best, because it'll pick you back up and then put you a bit further down the road than you were. You don't really lose too much time. Oh, I've ballsed that one up completely. Ah, hello. Somebody, are we going to actually see somebody for this race, possibly? Are we just going to run a little bit wide and then try and run away at the front again? And that was actually not a bad. I can't remember what lap times I was doing, to be honest. No, don't run wide through there. No, we've got over the bumps. Again, if I could have thought quick enough, I could have saved it with the carrot. I can't. My brain hasn't quite got to the stage of being quick enough to figure out what the bloody hell I'm supposed to be doing with the. Oh crap! With the weight of the rider. If you aren't quick enough, you can save situations like that. But not me. Okay, let's see if I'm in second place, having fallen off 3 times on the opening lap and not having done very well. AI is a tad easy, in all honesty. I mean, I've only played a few races of this game, and I know I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm making it up as I go along. I like the fact that there seems to be there seems to be lots of different lines you can take through corners and so on. It's not just your sort of conventional racing lines, which makes it interesting for me, who's not used to motocross and dirt bikes and so on, who's used to just normal circuit racing. It's very good fun sort of learning all of this, but I wouldn't expect to be able to beat the most difficult AI straight off. I wouldn't have thought. Now he's going to be on the inside, so we can either. Oh no, there's a fence there. We can. Oh. Yeah, that's what I was saying about it being very lenient on the putting you back on the road. I actually made an overtake in all of my slight trying to cheat and shortcut has worked. It got me the place. Right, we are. I don't know where. Wise look behind. Okay, there's a train of riders behind us. Sometimes I think there was one race where the guy it wasn't me in first, unfortunately. The AI in first just decided, bugger it, I'm not going to. No, why did you do that? I didn't even go that wide. Well, I didn't really lose any time anyway. Yeah, there's one AI that just decided to go mental on one race and won by about 12 seconds and nobody could catch him. But aside from that, on the most part, the AI has not been particularly difficult. I've just ballsed that one up completely going over there, but never mind. Right, shall we have a little bit of a dab on the brakes? That's better through there. I didn't career into the fence. Fantastic. There's also, you can do this sort of tail whip thing over the jumps that I cannot figure out for the life of me what it's for. I think it's for if you take off a jump and you slightly angle wrong, you can use that to straighten your bike up a little bit. Anybody who knows a thing about motocross, is that a way? Is that just to change your position in the air slightly? Because I was doing that the first few races, I was watching the AIs. Oh, somebody had a crash over there. I was watching the AIs, and they were doing it over some jumps some of the time, and I couldn't figure out what on earth it was for. Yeah, I think it's for slightly changing your position. So if you take a jump at a slight angle, and fall off, or not fall off as such, but if you're taking, oh, that nearly didn't work, doing a wheelie there. I did think quick enough, I did think fast enough in that one to save it, but yeah, I think it's for taking jumps at slightly wrong angles and recovery. So if I'm pointing that way, I want to go more there. Yeah, over. I was too busy trying to show what I meant, and I fell off because I ballsed up the landing. But yeah, I think that's what it is for, possibly. I just mess around because it looks cool, basically. We're still in the lead by quite some way on this, the final lap and around this one, and I still don't like that corner. That's a horrible corner. There are a few really nasty corners. I think, is it Portugal has a really nasty jump. It has a really awkward landing zone for one of the corners. It's like that final bit on this track with the little snaking up and down a hill bit. It's quite mean there. There are a few tracks that are very nasty. Right, what I'm going to try in this next one is I'm not going to go straight away. I'm going to see if I can work my way through the field. I wasn't expecting to be at the front on a track I haven't really driven. Oh, no, I said about the bike occasionally vanishing. We're not going to use that joke now. Oh, fine. Be like that game. It knows I'm filming, so it's going to work properly. That's what it is. Alright, I like how there's a guy with a headset. Do the motocross riders have earpieces? I would assume they probably wouldn't bother. I don't know, maybe they do. Right, we're going to let you lot go, and we're going to see if we can work our way through the field. And we'll try and come to the front. Ooh, it's I just love the first turn in motocross. It's just absolutely crazy. I think they should set off more races like that. I know you can't really do it with cars. You'd need a very, very wide track for fitting 16 cars wide. But it would be amusing. It would make for some interesting action. Imagine all 20 Formula 1 cars setting off side by side. That'd be a fantastically big crash. And into turn one. Ooh, we're doing a wheelie again. We're doing a bit of a wheelie, and then we're bouncing across there very awkwardly. And we're up into the... We've had a pretty good start there. We've had a pretty good start. Can we run around? No, we can't quite run around the outside. One thing I would like to see is the indoor motocross. I would love to see that in a game. I'm assuming they still run it. I remember watching it ages ago. It looked like incredibly good fun. Because in an indoor arena you have a really nasty tight track. Because you couldn't just spread. This is a tight track in general because you don't have anywhere near this much space in indoor places. So they get really nasty, technical, twisty tracks in an indoor arena. I think that would make for an interesting challenge, having such twisty tracks. I mean, okay, they wouldn't be as long as this one, but yeah, I would quite like to see that in a game or in a future one of these. I'm assuming it's still run. I haven't seen it in ages, but I might just be talking bollocks. For all I know, bikes not my strong suit particularly. Right, after lap 1, we are up into second place. I think we may actually win this event overall. God, that was running a little bit wide. One thing this game does do very well, because all of the the riding of the bikes, the driving of the vehicles is very different. I find I don't get bored driving as such. Racing games in general are quite hard games just to do sort of like a let's play series on. Because a lot of the time you are driving around maybe with one car, or if you're out in front and there's no cars around, and there's just not necessarily a huge amount going on. I think I've said this before a few times about games. Forza 5 does a very good job of making sure there's always action going on around you. Okay, maybe the driver tires. Oh, we've spun backwards. That's a new one. I've not had that happen before, and then we've slightly mounted a fence. Arse. Okay. Speaking of action going on, that is a new one for me to deal with. But sorry, I did get distracted. Yeah, racing games, they can often get boring. Maybe not the right word, but there's not always a lot of action going on. Forza 5 does a good job of keeping, even if it's the driver tires crashing into you or crashing into each other. There's always something. Ooh, get down, back on the front wheel. Dear God. There's always something happening. Which makes Forza 5 one of the single player of Forza 5 is very good, much better than most racing games. On this one, you will you won't have the same sort of crazy action. Okay, even with me playing on the hardest difficulty you see here, there's not really that many bikes around. But because you've got so much to deal with, especially if I now try to run this with manual gears, there is so much to think about just keeping your bike on the track and going quickly. It keeps being interesting. Like, even if I'm at the front for an entire race and don't see anybody else, it's still interesting. It's still a challenge because you've got to keep this bloody bike on the road and doing all of the things you're supposed to be doing and not pulling wheelies at awkward places and not trying to climb over the fence and so on. And I find that it makes it very, very interesting. It makes it a great game to play because you're always challenged. You're always fighting something. And because of there's plenty of bumps and tight twisty corners and there's jumps and you can always be trying to find a slightly better line through a corner somewhere, and it just keeps you interested. And that was a pretty good overtake from me there, I think. I will take that one. Oi! I did not crash into you at all. Not this time round anyway. I got a clean overtake and then you come barging through. Don't spin me out on this corner, please. Thank you. Yeah, it really does keep you interested. Even now, I've got a little bit more experience. I'm still fighting and trying to learn and do my best with this. Oh, good God, that wasn't fun. That wasn't clever at all. Into that corner. Oh, we're going to bump the fence. Just about got away with it. Can we? I don't think we can close up that gap to first. I think with my little spin, I have given him get a bit of a slide coming up that corner. I think I may have given away the... Oh crap, where are we going? That was a terrible corner. Given away the victory in this one. Can we do a wee? There we go. I wish I got the landing right that time. Around that corner. Only a few more corners to go, and I'll win the French round, I think. So first and second. I don't think that was the guy in second last time. I'm not sure. I'm doing quite well. I'm doing pleasantly well. I thought it'd take a lot longer to to get to this stage of competing with the AIs. Yeah, we're not going to take this. I'll take second place though, especially considering I spun around and I decided to be kind and let everybody go at the start. Right. Did we win overall? Please say we won overall. Yes, we did. 47 points. Not too bad at all. I will take that one. I think I'm now leading the championship as well. Yes, I am. I'm in the lead of the championship after however many rounds. So there we go. That is some MXGP. I really would recommend this game to anybody who enjoys racing games. It's not particularly expensive at the moment. I got this for, I think I got it for £5. I think it's on Steam sale at 8 at the moment. It's normally 20 quid, which is not too bad for a completely brand new game. Yes, I think there are 14 tracks, 15 tracks in the game. There's quite a lot of content, but it is there's just 2 championships, one with slightly faster bikes. So yeah, I would still recommend this game at 20 quid. I think it's great fun for messing around. But if you can get it at 5, 8 quid, definitely I would really recommend you do, because it's very, very good fun. You will be needing an Xbox controller of some sort. I wouldn't imagine this would work on a keyboard very well. But otherwise, yeah, I give this game a big recommendation. Not the prettiest game in the world, perhaps, but it is very good fun to drive around, and that's the most important thing, I think. It's an interesting challenge for people who have perhaps not played this sort of game before. So yeah, I give this game a massive recommendation. Anyway, that is it from me, so thank you very much for watching, and until next time, a goodbye.